She needs to wear lingerie for this one. Nighthawk.
Welcome to the Lady NightHawk show, where we talk about interesting topics. Not about lingerie today, okay? We're not talking about lingerie today. But we talk about interesting topics, and we have people come on and do different things, write books, sing songs, you know, and we try to keep you as up to date as we possibly can on things that are going on in the industry for those that have that expertise to tell us. So last week I had Attorney Bell here, which does foreclosures and bankruptcy, and tonight I have Reverend Levin here, and he does modifications and help people get mortgages for their homes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, now you can introduce yourself and tell them what you really do.
What I really do. I do a lot of different things.
Yes, you do.
But my name's Ross Levin. I'm the Executive Director of Roots of Mankind. We are a nonprofit here located in Prince George's County, where we do first-time home buyer education. We do financial empowerment. We do foreclosure prevention. And we do work with veterans and a number of different other things as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like interesting that the veterans, you know, I mean, some of them just don't know where to go, you know, and I try to send them to you, and I try to send them to Attorney Bell as well, depending on what their issue is. And I mean, you know, even though VA is there, you know, they still, for some reason, that they can't get the information that they really need, you know. So I'm glad you mentioned them in this segment because, you know, because there's been some crazy things that's been going on with everybody, and they've been included. And I salute you guys. I do. I salute you guys for the service that you have served our country, and those of you that are, you know, got injured along the way, you know, my prayers go out to you. And I think that we're blessed that we have committed men and women that are out there serving in the armed services. And so I thank you for saying that. I also want to say too, and I meant to say in the last segment, that Pope Francis passed away, and I'm quite sure that some of you did watch the ceremony on television. And you know, they're getting ready to elect a new pope. Now, that's an interesting process. I should have mentioned this last time. So if you've never seen a pope be elected, when they start that procedure in a few days, because I think he's going to lay it rest for 9, and then after that, they'll start submitting names, and they'll go through that process. It's an interesting process. So I would recommend, if you've never watched it before, that you learn about it, and you don't have to be Catholic. It's just interesting to see how they do elect a pope, okay? Because he's one of the most powerful men in the world, you know, when it comes to certain things. That the Pope influences a lot of people on a lot of things. So whether you're Catholic or not, I mean, it'd be interesting to see who it is that they have that's going to be the Pope, okay? And my prayers go out to any of his relatives that are living. My prayers go out to them as well. And I think that this particular Pope, Pope Francis, wanted to be more scriptural than a lot of them have been in the past. He wanted a wooden casket. He wanted to be placed in a plain tomb, you know, in a place that's not so fancy like they have in a lot of popes in certain places. But he was a people's people, and that's the way he wanted to pass on, you know. So I take my hat off to those people that are in prayer for his family, because they do have families, guys. Don't think that they just don't have families. They do have families. Some of them do and some of them don't, okay? But I just want you to know that prayer is needed for this world, and we need to think about that, and we need to try to stick with it. Sorry, I didn't mention it in the last segment. But, and so how are you doing today?
I'm great, Paula. Thanks for having me back. Thanks so much, Paula.
Well, thank you for hanging in there with me as long as you have.
Absolutely.
You know, you pre-COVID, okay?
I am.
And we still have COVID. COVID's still hanging out there,
Yeah,
okay?
COVID sure is.
Tuberculosis, measles, whooping cough, you name it. It's still out. Stuff that we had eradicated is out there now. And them taking away the scientists and stuff that we're working on, the bird flu and stuff like that. I mean, you know, we really have to be careful. So my thing has always been, and it's never stopped, that wear a mask if you go into the store. You know, they still sell them. get a mask when you go in the store. You're in large groups and large crowds. You notice that we still are sitting close. We're not sitting close. We're sitting apart from each other. I wear a mask in this building. I take it off once I get in this room. I wear them when I go to any store. When I go to the doctor's office, I see if there's anybody in the waiting room, and everybody in the doctor's offices. That should tell you something. And at the pharmacy, that should tell you something. They're wearing masks, okay? Everywhere I go, where's a healthcare professional, they got masks on, okay?
Yep.
So that should tell you something, okay, about yourself. So you need to protect yourselves out here, okay? All right, so now, I know it's some interesting things that you talked about last show, the other show that we just finished doing, the Jeremiah Church show, that this month is called what now?
This month is Financial Literacy Month.
Okay, and they're not advertising that, so you need to put that out there on your site so people know what that is and what that means. So could you explain it to our guests?
Absolutely, Paul. I'm happy to do that. So it's all about financial literacy, explaining about finances and things like that.
So it just it encompasses a lot of things, not just
Encompasses a whole lot.
Okay, so and if you want to know about it, give them a call. Where? Tell us where you're located and your phone number.
Sure. We're located in Greenbelt. Our phone number is 301-899-6800. And our email address, our website is www.romkind.org.
And so, if you want some information, write him on his website, or give him a call about anything that he talks about. He's more than willing to put you in the right direction. If he can't do it, he knows other people that can. So he would be a good resource for you to have in your speed dial. I'm saying that.
Well, I appreciate that, Paula. Thank you so much.
Now, what is going on with my big concern is that people are losing homes. Okay. Are they able to, with the job market, it's not just the federal people that have lost jobs. There are other private organizations that are losing, laying people off as well. And some businesses that's been like the restaurants and things like that, been in business for years, that are closing down in the District of Columbia in the metropolitan area. So what happens with them? It's not their fault that they don't have a home. Now, if they don't have a home, that means, I don't know if they have any kind of insurance or money in the bank or 401k or something that they could reach out to,
Well, the thing is this. The thing is that the mortgage companies are required to go ahead and review homeowners who are past due with mortgages. If you're past due, whether it's 30 days past due, 60 days, 90 days past due, they are still required to review homeowners for loss mitigation. So they're still required to review the borrowers for assistance. Okay, they're not required to approve the homeowners for assistance. Okay, so that's the difference. Okay, the programs, as you know, with a changing administration, okay, the loss mitigation programs specifically, the government programs, meaning the government insured programs, the VA backed loans and the FHA backed loans, those programs, those loss mitigation programs and those guidelines have changed. So it's important if homeowners have, say, for example, an FHA insured loan or a VA insured loan, for those homeowners who are past due, for them to contact their mortgage company as soon as possible. They can also contact me or contact the organization if they're past due as well to get assistance to see what's going on, because those programs are changing and will change. Okay. In addition, Maryland, the state of Maryland, if someone's past due, there are if someone's in foreclosure, with an owner-occupied property, Maryland does have foreclosure mediation to where a Maryland homeowner is entitled to a face-to-face meeting with a representative from the bank, as well as the mortgage company's attorney. Of course, face-to-face, as you had mentioned with COVID, that doesn't happen. But it would be a Zoom, or it would be a WebEx, to be able to go ahead and try and work out some type of payment plan or some type of loss mitigation to work out the difference, foreclosure mediation. It's important that Maryland homeowners know that, okay, because that certainly, if they don't opt into foreclosure mediation, okay, then they can lose their home quicker, and Maryland foreclosure mediation is certainly an option for homeowners, and it's a great program that has helped many homeowners resolve their differences with the mortgage company, to where there may have been an assistance option that wasn't available to them. Okay, but the foreclosures are definitely on the rise here in Maryland, without a question.
And why would they do that during this time when they had not a clue what was getting ready to happen? I mean, like, they weren't in foreclosure, but now they've lost their job. You know, they might hit that 30, I thought it was 40 days, but 30-day mark. And now, you know, they hadn't received anything because they were paying their mortgage on time, you know. And now you get in the middle of the month and you find out that I've lost my job, not through no fault of my own. And so while I'm trying to figure out where my life is going, okay, that, you know, you might hit 30 days, not 40 days. You know what I mean? So it's best for them to call their mortgage company, make sure I got this understanding. They call their mortgage company and tell them what's going on, so they're aware of what's going on, and ask, well, what can we do to help remedy this situation? Instead of sitting back and waiting for somebody to send you a piece of paper in the mail.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, is that if someone's having a problem with a payment with their mortgage company, or for that matter, any type of payment, it's important to have communication. Don't sit there and not call. Don't not answer your phone. Answer your phone. Because the thing is that everybody has problems. We're all human, right? Just because you may have lost your job, or something, an emergency happened, maybe car troubles, or a medical emergency for a family member, it's okay. But not to go ahead and answer the phone, or not to go ahead and do nothing doesn't help you, doesn't help the mortgage company, because the thing is that now what's happening is you're going to go ahead and have a decision made for yourself instead of you making the decision. And that's the worst thing that can happen, because most of the time you can go ahead and the mortgage company 100% doesn't want your home, doesn't want your home. The mortgage company wants you to keep the home. If you're 30 days behind, 45 days behind, sometimes they may be able to do some type of a forbearance, a payment plan, sometimes a loan modification. Every situation's different.
Right.
But if you don't speak to the mortgage company, and you don't
speak to somebody like you,
or speak to someone like me,
yes,
or speak to a housing counseling agency, then the whole thing is that all you're doing is hurting yourself.
The inevitable.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And the thing is that all you have to do is pick up the phone. You know, we'll speak to you. I'll speak to you. You know, it doesn't cost you any money to pick up the phone and speak to me. And you know, our advice is free. We're not attorneys. We don't give legal advice. But what we do is we tell you exactly, and we'll try and help you the best way that we can. But you not picking up the phone and not trying to go ahead in trying to keep your home, because that's the goal.
Well, and that's what they want to hear.
Right.
They actually want to hear from you, for you to tell them, look, I'm trying to work something out. I want to keep my home. What can we do to help each other? You know,
Exactly.
and they will listen to you, and not just about a home. We're talking about anything. Okay, you're behind on your electric. Okay, they got programs that's out here. You back home, you back on your gas bill. They got programs that are out here. They have more money this year than they had in the past because of what has happened in this economy and people losing their jobs and things. And I think that our governor has tried to look out for the people in Maryland. Okay, so. You know, not just with the governor, but I think that you need to make sure that your city council, or your mayor, are looking out for, your particular district and find out what's going on with them, because they can give you answers as well on what's getting ready to happen, or, so it's about reaching out. So like I said, it's not just about your home, it's about your gas, your electric bill, your water bill, your cable bill, or whatever bill that you may have. You need to talk to people, okay? Instead of sitting there stressing yourself out and say, oh, woe is me. No, don't do woe is me. Pick up the telephone and call somebody and talk to them and see what they can do. Now, some people will just be flat out no, and some people will try to help. But you won't know that, right, until you pick up the phone and you call somebody. I'm so glad you said that, because that's so important for them to do. And especially with this housing market being like it is, I'm not the expert on it, but I would think that with these people that are losing their homes, that have lost their jobs, if they have not found other jobs, that they're looking. You know what I mean? They're not sitting back and doing nothing, but they actually are really out there in some of the cities and things that are actually having job fairs and things to help them find another job. You need to just pick up the phone and find out, okay? Because there are people that are really out there trying to help you guys. And I take my hat off to you. You're all in my prayers that, for those of you that lost your jobs, I just think it's a bad situation. But Reverend Levin has given you good advice to pick up the telephone. That's the worst thing you could do, is not pick up the telephone, okay? So what is it that they need to gather? Is there any documents or anything that they need to have in their possession when they call these people?
Well, I mean, it all depends upon the type of hardship they're having and the type of assistance that they're looking to seek. Usually, for someone that's looking for mortgage assistance, they're wanting to know what type of hardship it is. If it's a hardship that's long-term or short-term, they're, those are the types of questions. And then, of course, the income that someone's getting. They don't have to gather up all the household income, but approximate. And then, of course, approximate the monthly budget. What is the monthly budget? And we can help you go through a crisis budget and help you go through your bank statements to see exactly where you're spending your money. I remember working with one person in particular. This was a number of years ago. We went through his bank statements, and he was spending literally close to $400+ a month just going to Starbucks alone. Starbucks alone, $400 a month. He couldn't it blew his mind how much money he was spending going to Starbucks. So
I can believe that. Because a lot of people got so used to doing fast food that they don't realize that really adds up. I mean, you put Starbucks along with Chick-fil-A and some more stuff in there, it has to come to more than that. You know?
Right. Well, I mean, that's, everybody, but Starbucks and, like you had said, Chick-fil-A and different things.
I don't have stock in any of those companies, guys.
Well, I mean, it's
They're just
going-
well known, so we use those as an example. And like you said, you had a client that was doing that, and when he looked at the budget, he saw that he was spending more money at Starbucks. than
Yeah, I
any
mean,
place
that's
else.
for, that's
That's a for real story.
Yeah, that's $100 a week. A
Mhm.
week.
But what does Starbucks? I don't go in Starbucks. What does Starbucks have?
Well, I mean,
That's so
Starbucks
expensive.
has, different specialty and drinks and things like that. That's, $25 a week.
Oh, it's easy.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not easy, but
No, I'm
you
just saying
know.
it's easy not
Right.
realizing that you spent $100 that week, and it's easy because it's something you've been doing so long that you never
right,
really
it's like
paid attention
it's like
to
a
it.
bad habit, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
bad habit. But I mean, the thing is that you go through that, and then not saying that you go through it. It's not saying he wouldn't go to Starbucks ever again, but instead of going, maybe he would just go every other week, and then cut it out of his budget, and then look at other things, and then, he's in a much better financial situation. So it's things like that unless you look at it, and have someone else look at it and then go through it, and it's okay. Like I say, we're all human. I mean, it's not a big deal. I don't judge anybody. Who am I to judge? Right?
Well, and then the thing about this is that a lot of these people now that are being displaced are not because of their negligence, is because they've been put in a predicament that they have no choice. I'm talking about the federal government, all those people losing their jobs, and different other organizations that
Right.
private industry that
Right.
have lost their jobs, or the companies closed down because they cannot
Right.
afford
Right.
to stay open. I mean, that's not something. I mean,
Right.
it's been people. I know one person that was working at it's a club that's in D.C., and they've been working there for 20 years. And after 20 years, and the club has been around longer than that, and they shut down. They had to shut down their doors. And I've seen a few of those that have happened to restaurants and places in the District of Columbia that have been around for 20 and 30 years, and now all of a sudden they have to, because it's not them so much as the inventory where it comes from. They're not able to get the
exactly.
inventory.
But that doesn't make that person a bad person.
Oh, no, I'm not
I'm
saying
not
that at all.
right,
I'm
right,
agreeing with you 100%.
right,
I'm saying because it's through no fault of their own, even the worker that, I know that if I had a business for 25 years that I don't want to just shut it down, because I know
Right.
it's other people's lives are depending on
Right,
me, and have
right,
depended on
right.
me for 20, 25 years. But it's not through their own fault. It's through the suppliers
Right.
that they
right.
got their inventory from, that they're not able to get the inventory that they need, whether
Right,
it's the
right.
different wines or the alcohol or the
Right.
plates or the dishes or whatever it may be. Then now that they are unable to keep it in stock because they can't get it from one of these places that might have had a tariff or something on them. And they're saying that they are, this is what they said on the news, not me. That some of these people are having hard times getting the supplies that they have because some of the ships and things are sitting at the docks and they're empty, and so
Right.
what do I have to do with that? What can I do? You understand what I'm saying?
Right, but what I was saying was that it doesn't make, it's hard for those people. So just because they've been working for 20 years, like you had said, at that restaurant or at that club, I mean, it's very hard. They're of no fault of their own.
Right.
Right. So,
Right.
I mean, it's very difficult for someone that, that's been doing something for 20 years to go and pick up and either learn a new skill or a new trade. So, there's, it's unfortunate, but, it doesn't make them a bad person. It's harder
Oh,
for
no.
for those people to get up, and I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, very difficult.
And I want to say this, since you've mentioned that. If you are depressed or stressed, they have hotlines. We have the stress hotline, stress hotline. Suicide hotline is at the end of our credits. Being abused is on at the end of our credits. We've had them there forever. So if you feel like you might want to, you're so downtrodden and you don't know what to do that you might want to commit suicide, please don't do that. Call the survivors hotline, call the suicide hotline, call any one of those numbers. They're even advertising them on television that you can actually Google it, but don't. There's a way out. And like Reverend Levin has said, that call. Don't just keep it to yourself. Call the lender, call the people, talk to them. You know what I mean? There's a way out besides killing yourself. So I'm saying to you, please, I beg you, call one of those hotlines if you need some help. Go to your pastor in your church, your mosque or wherever. Go talk to them, But that is not an option. You don't have an option to take away your life when there's somebody or some organization out there that might be willing to help you. And all you have to do is pick up the telephone. My prayers go out to a lot of people that are depressed and stressed right now. And my heart goes out to you, no matter what it's for, what it's about. But pick up the telephone. Call some of those hotlines. If you're being abused, there's a hotline that you can call. You don't have to stay in that abusive relationship. It's just too much killing going on. And I must say that too. We need to get a rein on these people, the young kids out here that are out here getting their hands on these guns, out here killing and shooting people and going in their schools now. Parents, I don't know whether or not you got a gun or not, but you need to make sure that it's secured, okay? And then, find some outings to do with your children so that they're not out there with gangs and out there in the street. And with that, I'm going to end the note. And I'm going to say thank you so much for that information.
Oh, you're welcome, Paula.
And I really appreciate you coming on, sharing that information with us, because that was really, really important for people to hear.
Paula, definitely.
And so I thank you for that. And with that, we want to say good night from Lady NightHawk. And you take care. And stay in prayer. Stay in touch with each other. Please, if you haven't talked to your parent or your sister, your brother, your friend in a long time, pick up the telephone, call somebody and just say, hey, how you doing? You was on my mind. You were in my heart, So when we get off the air, pick up the telephone, call somebody and say, I love you. If it's no more than that, just say, I love you. And let them know that there is somebody out there that cares for them and about them, okay? You be the bigger person. All right? That makes sense?
It does.
So we're going to say good night one more time.
Good night.